Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream today. How is everyone doing? Hey there, Arlie. Welcome. Small, Cheryl. Who else is here? What other members of mine are here right now? Let's check. Let's see if anyone was here before I started. Oh yeah, some people were here already waiting before I started. Cool. We'll get started in just about 15 minutes. So if you're here, you are early. We have a live stream, an intermediate level Korean lesson today. We're going to be learning about the two forms, 대도 and 불구하고. We're also going to be learning about using those forms together as well as separately and compare how those forms are different in each of their uses. Because one of the forms we're going to be learning today, wow, I speak fast sometimes, is 불구하고, and that can be used with both. It can be used with 대도, we're going to be learning. It can also be used with nouns by itself, and it can be used with verbs, and we're going to be talking about all of those uses today as well. So it's kind of just an all-encompassing lesson about those two forms. Are we taking a trolley? Oh yeah, so let me show you guys. So I was walking around Seoul, and I saw this really cool, looks like a train, like an old train. You know, I think it was one of the first trains used in Seoul. So yeah, they have it here, and I thought it would be kind of cool. There's no one around, you know, it's pretty empty today. It's a nice sunny day. I thought it would be nice to do the live stream from here. East. I thought you said west. Ha ha ha. Hi from snowy Boston. Is it snowing over there? I always have to keep in mind that other people in other parts of the same country I live in have completely different weather from me. Right now, I was going to say, I almost said I was in California. No, I'm in Korea right now. But if I were back home where I'm from, in Los Angeles, I know the weather there is pretty nice and warm these days. Ha ha ha. Okay. Let's see how many of you are here. There's currently 52 people here. Nice. And we'll get started in just about 10 minutes. So before we get started, though, I have a few announcements. As usual, you can get the worksheet for this live stream today on my Patreon page. You can get it right now. I think it's like 13 questions that you can translate from Korean to English. So if you want to get some additional practice after today, I highly recommend that, just so you can really feel comfortable in using the form. You can get that on Patreon. It's already available. Also, the outlines for every single live stream since the very beginning, since I believe September 2018. So it's been over 2 years since I've started these live streams now. All of those outlines are available on Patreon. You can also get those. That is in the same tier as the worksheets. So if you pay $1, you get access to everything from since the beginning of time and or 2018, whichever one's sooner. And the outline for today's stream will also be up as soon as the live stream's finished. So if you wait about 30 minutes after this live stream is finished, you can also get this outline for today's, I don't even know what accent this is. Today's live stream. Sounds like Gru or something from Despicable Me. Okay. Also, other announcements are there is merchandise if you are interested in a different way to support my content. Let me just pin this. I don't get too much money from merchandise, but I think it's pretty cool. I like having it, and some people have tweeted at me they're like they've gotten shirts or cups or stuff like that. And I also have some stuff myself, so maybe I'm just spending whatever money I make and buying some stuff for myself. Anyway, I'll pin one of those items to the chat here, just a sweater, like Keep Calm and Study Korean sweater that I designed. And also another announcement is that you can find a link in the description to my Discord channel. Now this is my official, what am I trying to say? I can't talk today. I need some more caffeine. This is my official Discord channel. Oh my goodness. Okay, caffeine is not, can't breathe caffeine. My Discord channel, as I was saying. Oh, watch, I'm gonna die on stream today. It's gonna go blank. Okay. So my Discord channel, you can join. There are natives there. You can ask Korean questions. You can practice Korean. And it's active most of the time during the daytime, I'd say. Okay. And the final announcement that I want to make, I'm clapping after every single announcement today. The final announcement is that if you are a member of this YouTube channel, so that is the join button on my YouTube. If you are one of those members, and there are about 60 or so of you, you all get access to watch today's abridged video tonight. So you don't have to wait until like Wednesday where I upload it for everyone else. You get to watch the abridged version of this lesson tonight after it's done. That'll usually be about 4 hours after the live stream finishes. So you can watch that tonight or tomorrow or the next day, and everyone else has to watch it. Well, they get to watch it. They don't have to watch it on Wednesday. Okay. So that is all of the announcements for today. No, there's one more announcement. I'm still dying. My last request for everyone before I die. Tuesday, if you are in the United States, of course, if you're in Korea, this doesn't apply to you. If you're in the United States, Tuesday is voting day. Make sure to vote. I will not tell you who you should vote for. You can vote for the president. You can vote for your local representatives. You can vote for your mayor or whatever. Just vote. And yeah, again, this is not an endorsed message or anything like that. I wish I would get money from someone to endorse them, but no. If you do vote sometime between, well, actually, this offer here, I'm giving you right now, this offer is from today until Tuesday. If you vote, you can send me a message. You don't tell me who you voted for. I don't care. Just do it. You can send me a message on Discord with a sentence that you want me to correct, and I will help you to correct a sentence. I normally don't offer to do sentence correction because it takes a lot of my time, but for this, I think it's a good trade. Okay, so you just say, you don't have to tell me who. You just say, hey, Billy, I voted. Give me a sentence in Discord. You can message it to me, or you can post it in the public channel if you want other people to see it, and I can correct it with you. So this is a chance for you to get some sentence correction from me one-on-one that I normally wouldn't really do that often in the Discord channel. So that's just an extra offer. Again, it expires on Tuesday midnight. Well, I guess it would be Wednesday more. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, that is all of the announcements I have for you today. For the live stream we're going to be doing today, the prerequisites are as follows. Ow. I'm coughing and my arm hurts. The Te form. I shouldn't have hit it that hard. The Te form. We are going to be using a form Te do today. And in order to use the Te do form, you have to know how to conjugate the Te form already, or it's going to be really hard because we're not going to be relearning this conjugation. You should already know this form coming into the lesson today. Now, if you don't know that form, you have 7 minutes right now before we start the lesson to learn it. And I do have a live stream abridged version that includes this. And I'm pretty sure that the lesson on Te takes less than 7 minutes to watch. So you can go watch that. Also, keep in mind that this is an intermediate level. So if you're still a beginner, this lesson might go over your head, and that's okay. So if you're a beginner and you feel like while you're watching today's lesson, you're like, oh, this is just too hard for me, or I don't get why I would use that, or what's the difference between this form and some other form I'm still learning, don't worry, this is an intermediate form. So it's possible that this form is still quite above your level if you're still a beginner. All right, that is all the announcements I have to make for today. Now I'm out of breath. I'm still coughing. I'm dying. And my hand hurts. All right. Let me check the chat. Okay, KB1, we are not endorsing any specific candidates. I didn't say it for that. I'm just saying vote. More people who vote is better, right? Isn't that what we want, right? Especially because so many people just don't vote. So many people just don't do it at all. Yeah, if more people do, it's always a good thing, right? There are some countries that cannot do this type of voting. Small, he's a tad enthusiastic. I'm stressing me. Yeah, sorry, Small. I'm just, I was just getting so excited and so passionate, right? Seriously, I'm going to die on stream today. Okay. Whoa, Cameron. First donation of today, and already you are my producer for today. today's producer is Cameron. You get the producer spot at the top of the board for the whole lesson. Wow. Okay, we got to do it. We got to do 50 dabs for that. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How's our music going? Oh, it's almost over. Got to start it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm coughing. I'm coughing. My arm hurts. Now I'm out of breath. Okay. All right, we're good. Thank you, Cameron. Billy's awesome. No, you are breathtaking. Was that the thing that Keanu Reeves said? I can't remember. Anyway, okay, so we'll get started with our lesson in just 3 minutes. Okay, what are you doing? Scared? I do 1 dab per donation dollar. Cameron, our first donation was 50, so I just did 50 of those things. Yeah, I'm gonna injure myself. It's okay if you're gonna make me do 50 dabs. The beginning of the stream or the end of the stream is the best time. Okay, what if you get a sprain from dabbing? I think I would feel pretty good about that. Can you imagine the doctor visit? Like I hand in my insurance card and he's like, all right, doctor's over there. And I sit down, I'm in I got the robe on, sitting on the table, the cold table. And the doctor's like, so, what can I do for you? And I'm like, well, I was dabbing and I think I dabbed too hard and sprained my arm, sprained my shoulder or something like that. I think I could film the doctor's reaction to that checkup appointment. Okay, so we will get started in just 1 more minute. Again, the prerequisites for today are the te form. Make sure you're familiar with this form before today. Before this lesson, I mean. Okay. Okay. I used to do, when I was in college, I had one of my friends was a 68-year-old Japanese guy who taught karate professionally in Japan. And he was studying at the college that I was at. And he gave me and one other student at class at that time for free karate lessons twice a week at the college. And we just went into a stairwell. And I learned how to do some of those things, like the breathing exercises and the kata, the things you do. I forgot all of them. That's all I wanted to say. I forgot everything. Okay, I would never tell him that though. As far as he knows, that has changed my life forever, but I forgot every single one. Okay, so today we're going to be learning an intermediate grammar form known as te do. And what te do is it's actually quite simple. The way that it conjugates is the exact same as the te form. So if you conjugate the te form, attach do to the end, you are done. That's why I said the te form is required prerequisite for today's lesson. So if you have hada, let's say hada to do would become ha는데, right? 하는데 do, you're done. 먹다 to eat, 먹는데도, you're done. 작다 to be small, 작은데도, you're done. 하다, let's say 친절하다. Can we go down here? Yeah. 친절하다 to be nice would become 친절한데도, and you're done. So if you know the te form conjugation already, you don't have to learn anything new for this form. And not only uses the conjugation of the day form, it is the conjugation of it is the day form, just plus to. So it really is just the day form plus do. The day form, can you imagine if I taught you guys Korean like that? Today we're going to be learning the day form and do, and you use han and day do, chinjol han day. What if I actually spoke like that? I would not have anywhere near the number of subscribers I have right now. Speaking of which, this year, sometime this year, I'm going to hit 300,000 subscribers. Isn't that awesome? I think I should like do something. Maybe I'll do like a 3,000. Wait, did I say 3,000? 300,000. 3,000 is still quite a lot though too. But I think sometime this year I'll hit 300,000. I should do something for that. I don't know, like a live stream, 300,000 live stream where I eat something, or I don't know. If any of you have any suggestions, let me know what would be cool to do. That should be pretty cool. Okay. All right. Did somebody, I'm going to unsub. Oh, great. And it's going to be back to 299,999, right? Because small unsubbed. And I'll have to cancel the live stream right before it happens. Okay. So because of that, we're not going to be going over the exceptions or how to conjugate it again, because there are several exceptions when you do it. Just a quick example, just to refresh your memory, when you do 춥다. 춥다 conjugates to the 대 form as 추운데. So you have to keep in mind that this has the same exceptions as the 대 form. Also remember that when you're using an action verb with the 대 form, you get 는데, not unde, or 아니은 and 대. So if it's an action verb, it's always going to be 는데. Okay, so if you want a review of how to conjugate this form, please rewatch my video about how to do that. Though fairly, it's pretty simple though, I'll say. There's not too much to it. As long as you know if it's an action verb or a descriptive verb, you can already get 90% of verbs. The extra 10% will be a few exceptions for a couple things. All right, so what am I trying to say? So what is this 대도 form? Well, in order to know what it is, let's talk about its pieces. First, it's the 대 form. Now, what is the 대 form used to mean? What is it used for? The 대 form is used to contrast two sentences. So in this way, it can kind of translate as and, or but, or though. For example, I could say, I went to the store, but they were out of potatoes. So you have two sentences. I went to the store, they were out of potatoes. You show that two sentences are contrasting. And that can usually translate as but it doesn't have to. And I cover this in the live stream where I explain how to use the 대 form in detail and when it's used. But it's a soft way to contrast sentences. So you're not saying, I went to the store, but they didn't have any potatoes. And you're not saying, I went to the store and they didn't have potatoes. But you're saying, I went to the store, they didn't have potatoes. So you're adding a light contrast. And this will often translate as but know that it's not a strong contrast like but. So if you wanted to say like something was really unexpected or really but, then you would just use the 지만 form for but. You wouldn't use the 대 form. Anyway, so the 대 form is used to contrast two sentences, and 도 means what you already know what it means. And 도 here just means and, also, or even, as usual. So we have some contrast, but, though, and we have this 도, and, also, or even. What if we put these two together? What sort of meaning do we get? Well, this form really is just that, but the translation for it, there is a nicer way to translate it though in English. Even though, or, but still, or, nevertheless. These sort of meanings, like yes, but, also, right? But, even, but, and. So it has that meaning, but more naturally, we would say something like, even though. I think even though is going to be the closest translation you can think of in your head. But sometimes if you don't want to use even though in every sentence, or you're just looking for something different, you can also try but still or nevertheless, right? So it has contrast, and it means kind of like even that contrast, right? Even that contrast. That is tedo. It is simply a combination of the te form with the meaning of even that. All right. But we're not done with that. So then if this form is just te plus to, what's the difference between te? Is there anything that it can't do or anything that te can do? Yes. This form, though, is slightly different in how it's used. So the te form, as I taught in my live stream about it, can be used in the middle of a sentence, or it can be used at the end of a sentence. So you can say, well, I went to the store though. They didn't have any potatoes, but I went to the store though. I still went there. That sort of meaning. You can use te at the end of a sentence or in the middle of a sentence to connect two sentences. However, tedo is really only used in the middle of a sentence. I won't say always, but this is the only way you're going to see it. This is really just used to connect two sentences. So in that way already, this form is not used at the end of a sentence. So that's one big difference between this form and te form, is how you'll see it. This really is just used to connect two sentences, whereas te can also kind of have a feeling of you're explaining something, as I taught in the class about it. This one is not. This one is only used in the middle of a sentence. So this form is only used to connect two sentences, while te can be used at the middle and the end of a sentence. What else is different? This tedo form. Why would you want to use the expression even though in English? Can you guys think of a reason you might want to use the expression even though? I'm just curious if you have an idea. When would you say even though in English? Special 3000 live stream where you talk only in that accent. What even accent was that? I think it was Gru. I was thinking of Gru because my kid was watching Despicable Me last week. A live where you do the Michael Jackson taps. I can also do a live stream where I talk like Mickey. I just don't want to get copyright striked. Buddy HQ. I don't know what that is. So not me. Okay. Contrast, emphasis, yes. Okay. Emphasis, yeah, it's for emphasis. You use it for emphasis. But what kind of emphasis? This form is used whenever you want to express that something was unexpected. So you're saying even though something unexpected happened. Despite that, something unexpected happened. Or something was surprising to me. Or even though something, well, whatever happened or whatever it is was opposite of what I thought. This is what this form is used. This is the situation when you would want to use this form. So just like in English, when you want to say, even though I turned off all the lights, my electricity bill this year was really high. It's kind of a dumb example, but okay, even though I turned off all the lights the whole month, my electricity bill was still high, right? Unexpected. I didn't expect the electricity bill to be high. It was surprising me. And in fact, it was the opposite of what I thought. I thought that if I turned off my electricity for the month, I thought that if I turned off all my lights for the month, my bill would be lower, right? It was the opposite. Even though I did that, my bill was still pretty high, right? Surprising, unexpected, the opposite of what I thought. That's what this form is used for. So it's kind of like in English, how we say even though, and then we say something that happened afterward that's unexpected. So Korean's the same. It's to show something happened or something is a certain way that was unexpected. So just keep that in mind. Unexpected. Write that down with this form. Even if you don't write down all this stuff, just keep in mind that it's something unexpected. And before I give you an example sentence of this form, I want to give you a cheat code, okay? It's not the Konami code. This is similar to this is a cheat code. This form is similar to the meaning of saying something with the te form with the word 그래도, meaning still or nevertheless. So it is a certain way, but still, even, nevertheless, that sort of meaning. So if you need one more tip just to kind of help you understand exactly what this form means, it's this. If you're not already familiar with these, well then this lesson's probably already going to be over your head to begin with. But in case that you're kind of still figuring out how to understand it, but you kind of get it, well, this is a cheat code. This is kind of the meaning, the feeling you get when you use this form. It's just the te form plus 그래도. So like, it is a certain way, but still that sort of meaning. Okay, I better erase this before anyone sees though. This is a secret. Can't just share that with everyone, okay? Just you guys. And that will probably won't even be in the abridged video. That'll just be for you guys who are here. Okay, so let's do an example sentence. 이 고양이는, so this cat, 성격 means personality. Actually, let's write this down here. 성격이 나쁜데도 인기 is popularity. 인기가 많아요 means very popular. Literally has a lot of, or there is a lot of popularity. So 이 고양이, this cat, 이 고양이는 성격이 나쁜데도, even though this cat's personality is bad, even though, but still, or nevertheless, 인기가 많아요. He or she, the cat, has a lot of popularity, literally, or is very popular. 이 고양이는 성격이 나쁜데도 인기가 많아요. So this cat is very popular, even though it has a bad personality. Even though, what could be a different way you might translate this sentence? Is there another word you might think of that could translate similar to even though that I haven't already shared? Is there any other word that comes to your mind? Even though this cat has a bad personality, or this cat has a bad personality, but even though it's very popular. Is there another word? There might be another word that comes to some of your minds. Even though it rains, the kids are playing outside. Okay. Anyone? Regardless, despite, yeah, that could be good. Regardless of the fact that, something like that, or despite this cat having a bird personality, despite this cat having a bad personality, it's very popular. So despite could be a good translation for this form too. And we'll see when we learn our next form that despite is another accurate way of translating this. Just depends on how you feel about the sentence. Anyway, 이 고양이는 성격이 나쁜데도 인기가 많아요. So this cat, despite having a bad personality, or even though it has a bad personality, it is very popular. So this cat's really popular despite having a bad personality. Okay. I want to see if I can get you guys to have one. Oh, yes. Okay. Despite, I want you guys to try this. We have a little bit of time. Despite leaving the house early, I was late. I want you guys to translate this. Give it your best shot. I'll give you some verbs you can use. 늦다 is late. Early is 일찍. Leaving, you could probably just do 나오다. House is 집. Okay. Despite leaving the house early, or even though I left the house early. Now, in order to do this, you'll have to know not only the 대 form, but you'll have to know different tense. You're going to need to know the past tense of the 대 form. So you might be okay with that, but just in case you weren't sure if you would use a different tense or not. So despite leaving the house early, I was. So because it's this, you're going to be using past tense for the whole sentence. Okay, you can give it a try. Don't worry, we won't take too long on this. I'll give you the answer soon, but you can just give it a try if you're already, say, high beginner, low intermediate. You might be able to do this already. KB1, you have to use the past tense because you're not saying despite I am leaving, you're despite having left. Although in English, we don't say past tense for this. For despite, we usually use present tense. So maybe I should say it like this. Even though I left. Even though I left. Even though I left. Just to help make it clear how you have to conjugate this. This is just an English grammar thing. Whenever we say despite, we always say despite doing, or if it's past, we would say despite having done. So, but in Korean, it's a little different than that. 일찍 나왔는데도 늦었어요. Nice, Arlie. 데도 빙키. Scott, that's not the conjugation for past tense, but you're very close. It would be 나왔는데, as you can see in the couple people who had it above you. Ikara, I did a lesson about 받자, but I don't think I've uploaded it yet. That's a different form. It could also translate as even though you do something, but we're not going to be covering that for today's lesson. 늦게 왔어요. Okay? 선생님 말씀을 들었는데도 잘 이해하지 못했어요. L-Farmy. Well, you wrote an accurate sentence, so I guess that means you understood it, but I'm guessing you're just making an example, a practice for fun. But good job. So you did understand what I said, or you didn't understand what I said, but you still got it. Oh, hey, Yuki. Yuki. Thanks, Yuki, for the $21 donation. I gotta do a dab. Let's do a dab first. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1. Okay, thank you, Yuki. Okay, I'm able to speak Korean with Korean people with small sentences and they can understand me, but I can't understand when they speak Korean, even when they speak slowly. It might depend on the person, but I would still say you need more. I would try, if you're okay to, I would try doing more pen pals, reading and writing in that sort of situation. Because of course you could keep, like if you live in Korea, you would have the opportunity to keep doing speaking practice over and over again. But outside of Korea, it's a bit difficult. I would say try to get better at that sort of thing by doing chatting. So reading and writing using chat apps. And then you can practice reading their longer sentences. And that combined with your short sentence speaking should help you to improve. So I would say change your focus a little bit and try to do more pen pals. Okay, so let's do this example. So I could talk about it a little bit longer, but I want to make sure we don't run out of time here. But if you ask me again after the live stream, I can maybe give some more information for that. Some of you guys had this exact same answer. 집에서 일찍 나왔는데도. So even though I came out of the house early, literally from the house early, came out, even though 늦었어요. I was late. So 집에서 일찍 나왔는데도 늦었어요. 집에서, from the house, 일찍, early, 나왔는데도, even though I came out from the house early. So even though I came out of the house early, 늦었어요. I was late. 집에서 일찍 나왔는데도 늦었어요. So even though I came out of the house early, I was late. Okay. Let's do another example. Hey, okay. Okay. How would you guys finish this sentence? Now, there might be one obvious answer you can think of, but how would you finish this sentence? I'm curious if there are any other answers. 우리는, us, 작은 집, a small house. 작은 집에 살다, to live in a small house. So, 우리는 작은 집에 살았는데도, even though we lived in a small house. How would you finish this sentence? So, 우리는, us. Although we lived in a small house, how would you finish this sentence? You don't have to write the whole thing. You can just write the ending that you would use. I'm still coughing like 30 minutes later after choking on my caffeine drink. Okay. Are there nuanced differences between 대도 and 오도? No, they are completely different. You can ask that. We're going to talk about that, this form as well as 돌아도 at the end of the lesson. The regular 도 form is just even if you do something. That's it. It doesn't mean even though. There's no contrast shown. So if you're asking that, you probably have not yet learned the 대 form, because the 대 form itself is very different from the 도 form. But yeah, the 도 form does not show any sort of contrast. It's just even if you do that. Nice. A few of you guys got the exact answer. Yeah, 행복했어요. 행복했어요. I'm curious if there are any other answers. I'm not sure what other sorts of answers there could be. Because remember, this form is used to show contrast, something unexpected or the opposite of what you might think. So if you live in a small house, you'd be stressed, you'd be upset, you'd be unhappy all the time. But contrary to that, the opposite of what you would think is that you would be really happy despite living in a small house. So despite the fact that we lived in a small house, we were happy. 우리는 작은 집에 살았는데도, even though we lived in a small house, 행복했어요. We were happy. So we were happy despite living in a small house. So it shows something was the opposite of what you might think, or unexpected, or something possibly surprising. And that is that you were happy despite living in a small house. 우리는 작은 집에 살았는데도 행복했어요. So we were happy despite living in a small house. I don't know if anyone else had any other thing. Yeah, 편했어요 could be good. It would be some sort of good thing. 공간이 충분했어요. You could do that small. The space was sufficient. 언제나 조용했어요. It's always quite small. Could be in some situations, I guess, if a large house would be really noisy. Rebecca had something that looked correct. It looked wide. 넓어 보였어요. It looked, despite the fact we lived in a small house, it looked wide. Okay, you could do that. Yeah, 넓어 보였어요. Okay. Then I saw delete. Like maybe you're like, I don't know, changed your mind. But yeah, that was good. 가구를 많이 샀어요. Okay, Scott. Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. Despite the fact that we lived in a small house, we bought a lot of furniture. More Brooke. We had 5 cats. Okay. Cherry. That's because 나쁘다 is the present tense. 나쁜데도. 나빴는데도 would be past tense. Was bad. But the sentence wasn't the cat was popular. The sentence was the cat is popular. So present tense. 큰 집에 keen. I'm not sure what you have with 넓었는데 for the house. You could say 큰 집이, or the big house that we lived in was wide. But what you have is, even though in the big house it was wide, but it was happy. So it kind of doesn't make sense in that sentence. I thought I was wrong, Rebecca. Yeah. Well, I'm guessing that's why you deleted it. But yeah, it was fine. Okay. 아늑한 분위기였어요. Okay, sure. You want to say, yeah. Anything that's not what you would expect from the sentence suggesting that you were living in a small house. So anything that would be, normally think small house. What's a negative about a small house? Well, despite that, positive. So opposite. If I had said, think about this. I'm not going to do a sentence, but just think about this. What if I had said, 우리는 큰 집에 살았는데도, what would be the answer? It couldn't be, we were happy, right? Because what's the opposite of whatever would be expected for that situation of living in a big house? Well, you might need to say something like, despite the fact we live in a big house, it was actually cheap. It could be something good, but it's the opposite of what you would expect from that situation. So even though we were living in a big house, we were always uncomfortable, or we had no money, or it was away from the city, or, anything like that, or it was only me, I lived by myself, or, any sort of reason, any sort of thing that's different, the opposite of whatever you would expect from that situation. So I'm not trying to share that it's always some sort of good meaning or always some sort of bad meaning. It's whatever is opposite from that situation. That could be good or bad. Okay, let's do our next sentence. 저는 어릴 때 키가 작았는데도, should we just rewrite this letter? Like, 저는 어릴 때 키가 작았는데도 힘이 셌어요. So, when I'm young, so when I was young, when I'm young, as in the past, when I was young, 키가 작았는데도, even though I was short, 키가 작다 means to be short. Literally, 키 is stature, your height, 작다, small. The opposite would be 키가 크다, tall. 키가 작았는데도 힘이 셌어요. Literally, strength was strong. So I had a lot of strength. I was really strong despite being young. Or I should say that. That's not what it is. Despite being short, I was really strong. So I was really strong despite being short. When I was young, 저는 어릴 때 키가 작았는데도 힘이 셌어요. So when I was young, despite being short, I was tall. So I was pretty tall. I was pretty tall. Wait, that's not what it is. I wasn't pretty tall. I keep getting these mixed up. I was pretty strong despite being short. Okay, let's do another sentence. I want you guys to make this sentence. You guys can do this. Okay, so I'm cold despite wearing a lot of clothes. Or literally, even though I wore a lot of clothes, put on a lot of clothes, I'm cold. This is something you can say if you ever are in anywhere with cold weather during the winter, possibly Boston. Someone mentioned that they're in Boston. Even if you put on a lot of clothes, you still feel cold. Korea is the same way in the winter. A lot of countries have really, really cold winters. Even though I wore a lot of clothes, I'm cold. Or despite wearing a lot of clothes, I'm cold. Either way you want to translate it, go ahead. I don't need to tell you any of these words. You should know these words if you're following along with the lesson. If you don't know some of these words, definitely look them up. But they would all be beginner level words here. Yeah, Ji-hoon Lee. 우리는 큰 집에 살았는데도 행복하지 않았어요. Even though we lived in a big house, we weren't happy. Yeah, that's great because it's the opposite of what you would expect for living in a really nice big house. 화장실이 한 개만 있었어. Yeah, sure, Rebecca. Even though we lived in a big house, there was only one bathroom. Yeah, that would be terrible. I cannot imagine. Oh, and then the bathroom is in the center of the house. It's right in like the guest room. Like the living room has like a bathroom right in the center. Yeah, really awkward. Cherry Jelly. The tense is not correct, but your sentence is correct. Rebecca, let's see. 옷을 많이 입었는데도 추웠어요. Okay, we said 추워요 for I am cold, so your tenses don't match this, but your sentence is perfect. That would be talking about the past tense. This sentence is talking about the present tense. Even though I'm wearing a lot of clothes, right? Wore. In Korean, they do past tense, as in put on a lot of clothes. In English, we say wearing. Anyway. Psychos only. Hey, Psychos only. What is PL? Which is PLN? PLN is $6. Awesome. I don't even know how to say your name. I'll just write Psychos. Thank you, Psychos. Got to do 6 dabs. Actually, Google says 6.3, so that's a 0.3 of a dab. Thank you. How are you? I'm doing good. Just teaching a class. Let's see what else you guys got. 옷을 많이 입었는데도 너무 추워. Okay, gracias. Nice job. 저는 많은 옷을 입었는데도 추워요. Okay, you can do that. 옷을 많이 입었는데도 추워요. Nice, Sophia, Amanda. You have the exact sentence that I wrote down. 많은 옷을 입었는데도 춥네요. Okay, Binky, yeah, sure. You can add a little bit of surprise. Oh, Sophia, you had it right. You just deleted your message. You had it right. It was perfect. It was the exact same thing I had written down in my outline. No. Okay, let's see what else you guys have. 아직은 추워요. Okay, 많은 옷을. You have 아야카타. It's 옷에. It shouldn't be the a. It would be the object marker. A would be the location marker. But no one's going to the clothes, so. 많이 먹는데도 추워요. Nice, Cheryl. Good job. Okay, so even though I wore a lot of clothes, as in even though I put on a lot of clothes, I'm cold. Let's write it exactly how I have it. Okay. 옷을 많이 입다, past tense. 입었는데 I don't know what accent that is. 추워요. 추워요. Present tense. So I am cold. 옷을 많이 입었는데도 추워요. I am cold. Despite having worn, or even though I wore, as in even though I put on, a lot of clothes. So even though I put on a lot of clothes, I'm cold. 옷을 많이 입었는데도 추워요. I totally know how that feels. In Korea, I would wear like in the winter time, I'd wear like 2 pairs of socks. I'd have like ear muffs. I'd wear a scarf. I'd have like one of those hat things. I don't even remember what they're called. I don't use them in California, whatever those things are called. I'd have gloves. I'd have undershirt. I'd have an overshirt. I'd have a coat. And I would still be like, like walking outside anywhere. So yeah, 옷을 많이 입었는데도 추워요. So even though I wore a lot of clothes, even though I put on, 입다, to wear, even though I put on a lot of clothes, I'm cold. It's cold. Okay. 목이 아파요. 목 is throat. So 목이 아픈데도. So even though my throat hurts, 노래를 불러야 해요. I have to sing. 목이 아픈데도 노래를 불러야 돼요. 불러야 해요. Sorry, I should read that again because you could either use 돼요 or 해요. They both are fine. 목이 아픈데도 노래를 불러야 해요. 목이 아픈데도 even though my throat hurts. 노래 is a song. 노래를 부르다 means to sing a song. 노래를 불러야 해요. I have to sing a song. So I have to sing even though my throat hurts. Despite my throat hurting, what am I saying? Despite my throat hurting, I have to sing a song. 목이 아픈데도 노래를 불러야 해요. Oh, who's that? Saint Miguel. Miguel. Wow. PHP. PHP, hold on. That is 50 cents. 50 cents. 0.5. Okay, I will give you half a dab. Thank you. That maybe like this. That's half. Okay, thank you. 목이 아픈데도 노래를 불러야 해요. Even though my throat hurts, I have to sing or I have to sing a song. Okay. But we're not done yet. There's still more we have to do. Let's do one more sentence and then we're going to talk about 불구하다. Okay. I should put that here. 전 여자친구. 여자친구 is girlfriend. 전 means previous, literally, but that's how you say ex. In ex is with 전, literally past or previous. Alex Full Metal. Alex, thank you. Thank you, Alex. Get a dab there. Oh wow, Carrie. 여기 고빌리 레슨 항상 재미있는 시간이에요. You can say, instead of saying I always have a fun time, you just say it is a fun time for that. Or just 항상 재밌어요 would actually be most natural. It's just always fun. 감사합니다. Yeah, thank you, Carrie. Wow. Today's been really good for donations. I'm already up to like $93 in donations today. Wow. Okay, 20 dabs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Oh, getting tired. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Where was I? All right. 제 전 여자친구 는. Okay, it's over here. 전 여자친구는. Actually, let me write it down here so it doesn't look so weird. There's a space anyway, so it's fine. So my ex-girlfriend. 대학생. And I'm going to write that down here. 이혼은. Actually. There's a problem. I want to make it so I'll make it so it's correct spacing. Some of these words are really long, so they don't really fit. 제 전 여자친구는 대학생이었는데도, despite the fact that my ex-girlfriend was a college student 자기 집이 있었어요. 자기 집이 있었어요. So, burn those carbs. Yes. Oh, hey, Nikki. I didn't notice you. Okay. 제 전 여자친구는 my ex, literally previous, my ex-girlfriend, 대학생, college student or university student. 대학생이었는데도 even though my ex-girlfriend was a university student, 자기 집, her own house. 자기 집이 있었어요. She had her own house. Despite my ex-girlfriend having been a university student, she had her own house. So even though my ex-girlfriend was a college student, she had her own house. So that would be something that's the opposite of what you'd expect. You'd expect a college student to be poor, right? Living with their parents maybe, or in a really small place, or in tons of debt. Well, despite the fact that my ex-girlfriend was just a college student, she had her own house. 제 전 여자친구는 대학생이었는데도 자기 집이 있었어요. So, even though my ex-girlfriend was a college student, she had her own house. Okay. So hopefully now you guys understand how to use the 태도 form. But there's another thing we still have to talk about. That is 불구하다. 불구하다 is a verb that often gets used together with 되다. Sorry, not 되다. This often gets used together. So I'll say it again. 불구하다 is a verb that often gets used together with this form, 태도. But first, what is 불구하다? 불구하다 means to disregard. Now, there are other translations for this too, but I think disregard works fine for what we're going to do. So, psychos only. My name is Chikos. Chikos. Wow, PLN. Hold on, I got to translate. I think that's 7. Yeah, that's 7. Wow. Chikos. Thank you, Chikos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.53. What? That's 0.5, 0.53. Thank you. Chikos. Okay, I'll try to remember it. Chikos. You might have to remind me if I don't see you here for a few weeks. I could forget, but I'll try to remember. Chikos. Nice. Chikos. Chikos in Jap. Oh, if it's in Japanese, it'd be chikos. 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 Okay, I got it. Since you said Japanese, I got it. All right. So 불구하다 is used together with this 태도 form, and what it means is to disregard. So when it's used, it's going to be used in this form. 불구하고. Disregarding. And this 불구하고 will be used together with the 태도 form to mean pretty much just emphasizing. All this does when it's used together with the 태도 form is it emphasizes the meaning of even though, kind of like that. You get even though, disregarding even though, right? So it's further like even though, we'll disregard that completely, even though. I hope, I don't know why any of you guys watch my streams. It only adds emphasis to the 태도 form. It does not change the meaning whatsoever, which is why I'm not even making this a big part of today's lesson. Because if you just know that 불구하고 means disregarding and know that it's used to add emphasis to the even though form, you got it. There is nothing else you have to do. All you do is you take the 태도 form and you attach 불구하고 at the end, and then you finish whatever you're going to say. Nothing else changes. You can use this in all the same sentences. It has no difference in meaning. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. Second period. We're up to the third puberty or fourth puberty now. 정말 최선을 yeah. 최선을 다 and don't worry, I'll explain this in case you don't know any of these verbs or any words. Oh, I see another donation. Let me just finish writing this so you guys can read it while I check that out. 이번에도 떨어졌어요. Okay, who was that? Miguel. Miguel, another 50 cents, bringing the total for your donation to $1. So let me also take Chicos up here. Combine those two together. Okay. Miguel, can you get another half dab? I'm like Bruce Lee or something. I feel like this would be like a stance for Bruce Lee. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never seen any Bruce Lee movies. I just get the feeling he would have some cool stance that's like this. Maybe like a dab. Maybe like the dab fighting style. Okay. To get my other half of the dab. Yes. All right. So, 정말 최선을 다했는데도 최선을 다하다. You guys can learn this separately to mean to do your best, to do one's best. 최선을 다했는데도. So even though I did my best, really, 정말 최선을 다했는데도 불구하고. Remember I said that this means disregarding. Well, you can actually just disregard this when you're translating it. So just pretend it's not even there. This is the same as what we've already been doing. You can think of it as emphasizing this meaning, and we'll talk about that. I'll show you what that means in a second. 이번에도, so this time also, as in this attempt, this anything, so this time also, maybe it's a test or whatever. 이번에도 떨어졌어요. 떨어지다 literally means to fall down. Something fell over. Well, it's also the word you use for to fail. If you fail a test or fail something, they say 떨어지다. Literally, you fell. So I failed again. I failed this time too, literally. Despite the fact that I really did my best. Despite the fact that I really did my best, I failed again. 정말 최선을 다했는데도 불구하고 이번에도 떨어졌어요. 정말 최선을 다했는데도 불구하고 이번에도 떨어졌어요. Chicos. I got it. Chicos, do you know George Trump? Yeah, I know him. I'll be done now. I don't know. Can you give me some sentence for picking up girls with 불구하고? A sentence for picking up girls with 불구하고? Oh, no. Okay, you can say, despite the fact that I'm short, I am wealthy. Despite the fact that I may not be so handsome, I'm wealthy. That's your best bet. And as proof, you can show them all the donations you've made to my channel. Be like, look how wealthy I am. Look, I just threw out $21 to Billy Go on YouTube. You want that kind of cash? Despite the fact that I might be ugly, short, whatever adjective you want to throw in there. 대도 불구하고. Yeah, you could try that. I don't know. I'm not giving you guys these grammar forms to learn how to pick up girls or guys, okay? You can do with it what you want to do with it. Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being short. But, okay, well, if we want to talk about Korean culture, height is quite a, they do see, I say they as in generally, height is seen as a very desirable trait. in Korea. Of course, it is in other countries too, but especially in Korea. That's why I suggested it. If you're talking about Koreans, you wanted to use this with Koreans, well, that could be a decent thing to consider. What are you saying? What are you saying, Chicos? Stop donating, Chicos. What are you doing? You're asking for dating advice. You're asking if you're the leader of the... I picked up the wrong one. You made me use the wrong marker. We're done. We're done, Chicos. Chicos, we're done. Stop. Stop, Chicos. Oh, I need to give you your dabs, though. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 7 more for your question that you just asked. I don't even know what you're trying to say. Okay, back to the lesson. 정말 최선을 다했는데도, even though I really tried my best, I really gave it my all. 최선을 다하다. 불구하고. Disregarding, even though. So it just adds more emphasis. Even though. That's what you get. Even though I tried my hardest. 이번에도 떨어졌어요. I failed this time too, literally, or I failed again. Even though I tried my hardest, I failed again. Okay. And because that's all there is to 불구하고 with this form, that's the only example I'm going to give you with this form. But we're not done with 불구하다. Don't think I'm going to let it go so easily. 불구하다 is also used... Now, this is an advanced note, okay? So if you are only here for the intermediate lesson, what am I trying to say? If you're only here for the intermediate stuff, this is good. You can drop out here. But I have an advanced note I want to teach you about 불구하다. 불구하다 can also be used in an advanced grammar form, which you might have seen before, and that is without the 태도 form. The way to use it is you take a noun, you attach 에도. So the particle 에 followed by the particle 도. And then 불구하고. And then you finish the rest of your sentence. This would be the start of your sentence. Some noun. 에도 불구하고. 불구하고. Now, again, I said that 불구하다 means to disregard. Well, if you really want to get technical, so now this is the advanced part of our lesson. Let's get technical. 불구하다 actually means to not restrain something. To not keep it restrained. Or to not be deterred by. This is just some alternative way to think about it. So literally means this. So not restrained by this noun or not deterred by this noun. But you can translate this naturally as despite this noun or in spite of, as in spite of the fact that sort of sense. So in spite of this noun, whatever else you want to say. Now, this is an advanced topic because any sentence you're going to make with this is formal, very formal. You're not going to use this in your casual speech with friends. You could use 태도 불구하고 with your friends. You can use 태도 불구하고 in regular speech. This form, however, with 에도, with a noun, 불구하고, is not for casual or informal speech. This is for formal usage. Writing, newspapers, essays, official speeches will use this form a lot. So you should be familiar with it, but know that using it yourself would make your speech sound very fancy. However, if you're wondering what this means, actually, let me give you another form. Okay, so this is what it means. That's good. If you're wondering what it means, this is what it means. However, this noun here can also be a verb. Now, how can you make a verb into a noun? Well, there are several ways to make a verb into a noun. You can use with this form a verb that has been changed into a noun using or a mium. I have a different live stream about that if you'd like to learn the rules for that, but really it's just if it ends in a consonant, attach If it ends in a vowel, attach a mium to the verb stem, and you're done. So 하다 would become 함. 함에도 불구하고. 먹다 would become 먹음. 먹음에도 불구하고. So now we have it again with a verb. So then if you can use a verb with 에도 불구하고, what's the difference then between using this form with a verb and using the form we just learned, 데도 불구하고, which can also be used with a verb, which is only used with a verb? There is no difference in meaning. This form has the exact same meaning as 데도 불구하고 when it's used with a verb. It's just formal. So you might see 하는데도 불구하고 used in speaking, in your informal speaking, used in regular writing, and you would see 함에도 불구하고 used in official documents, speeches, newspaper articles. It's the exact same form, in spite of the fact that that's sort of meaning, but the exact same meaning. So, let's do an example sentence. Hopefully that makes sense. And the reason it's advanced is because, like I said, you don't want to use it unless you're advanced. If you stick this form into your beginning sentence, you're trying to say like, in spite of the fact that I'm hungry, we have no food. You're going to sound like it's going to really be weird. Grandpa, oh, hey, Grandpa. Grandpa Mikey or Grandpa Mike. I've never figured it out. Is it Grandpa Mikey or Grandpa Mike? Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh. Oops. Thank you. Thank you, Grandpa Mikey. Oh. Okay. Let's do an example. Oh, I was going to say, if you're like a beginner and you want to say, Mother, in spite of the fact that we have just recently retrieved groceries from our shopping trip last afternoon, I have peered into the refrigerator and have discovered, unfortunately, Mother, that we are absent of any food in sight. Like, it just sounds overly fancy. It sounds really weird to stick this into regular conversation. It has a fancy feeling. 데도 불구하고 does not. 데도 불구하고 is fine. 데도 is totally fine. 데도 불구하고 just adds more emphasis, but it's fine. 에도 불구하고 it sounds really fancy. So let's give an example. 김치 국물. 국물 means soup, as in the soup, the liquid part of your soup. Now, I'm saying soup. I don't mean like clam chowder. It's in Korea, soup is usually the base is made with water, and they add different ingredients to it. That can be like a miso paste or kimchi, the juice that comes from the kimchi container, that sort of stuff. So anyway, kimchi 국물 in this case is the liquid that's inside of your jar of kimchi. That's called kimchi 국물. So kimchi juice or kimchi soup or whatever you want to talk about. 김치 국물을 흘리다. 흘린 is spilled. Literally flowed. So I made it flow. So I spilled it. Spilled kimchi juice. Oh, the clothes that I spilled kimchi juice on, that I got kimchi liquid on. 바로, right away. 빨다 is to wash, as in to laundry something. 빨았음, past tense verb. 빨다, to laundry, to do the laundry. So I washed it. I put it in the laundry right away. The clothes that I spilled kimchi juice on. 빨았음 에도. Despite the fact that I washed it right away, the clothes. 자극. 자극 is a stain. Oh, sorry, 자국. I was like, that the same string. Yeah. 자국 is Spain. Sorry, no. not Spain. It's a Spain. It's a whole country. Okay. 자국이 남았어요. Literally, the stain remained, or there was still a stain in that sort of sense. 김치 국물을 흘린 옷. The clothes that I spilled kimchi soup on. 바로, right away. 빨았음에도 불구하고. Oh wait, I didn't write it down. I didn't even write 불구하고 here. 자국이 남았어요. Okay. There we go. 김치 국물을 흘린 옷. The clothes that I spilled kimchi soup or kimchi liquid on. 바로 빨다, to wash in the laundry. Right away. 바로 빨았음에도 불구하고, despite or in spite of the fact that I washed my clothes right away after they got kimchi soup, kimchi stain on them, kimchi liquid on them. 자국이 남았어요. There's still a stain left, despite the fact that I washed them right away. So despite the fact, or in spite of the fact that I washed my clothes right away after I spilled the kimchi liquid on them, the stain is still there, or literally the stain still remains. 김치 국물을 흘린 옷을 바로 빨았음에도 불구하고 자국이 남았어요. Okay, and again, this sentence is going to have a fancy feeling to it. If you don't want that fancy feeling to it, just do this. You don't need to use this form unless you want that fancy feeling. 바로 빨았는데도 불구하고. Now it doesn't sound fancy anymore. All we did was just change that. It's not fancy anymore. It sounds fine to say. But if we change it, then we get that fancy feeling that's just unnecessary. Okay, so that's how you use 불구하고 by itself. One more note. See, anything I'm missing here? Okay, one more note I want to give you guys. This is also advanced. And that is, some people might be wondering, what's the difference between 돼도 and 더라도? If you don't know this form, this is not the note for you. This is only if you've already learned both of these forms now. And you've already learned 더라도 before. So if you haven't learned 더라도, please do not use this to confuse yourself. You can learn this. I have a different live stream that covers it. If you're curious, you can search my Google document and you'll find a live stream where I talk about this. Both of these can mean even though, or this one's though is more of like an even if. How is that different? Well, it's very different. Okay, so we have these two forms, 돼도 and 더라도. 돼도, as I talked about, means even though. So it's used for showing contrast, that something was the opposite of what you expected. Even though we lived in a small house, we were happy, right? 더라도, however, means even if. Even if. What's the difference between even though and even if in English? Can you guys, one person write it down in the chat. What's the difference between even though and even if? Can you give me an example sentence? How would it sound if I said, even if we lived in a big house, we would be happy? What's the difference? It's a very big difference. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to see if anyone knows it. Even though I most quickly stayed, one happened, one different. Okay, sure. This even if form is only for hypotheticals. It's only for maybe. Let's just say if it happens. This is not for saying it did happen, or it is happening, or it will happen. This is for saying even if it does. As in, I don't think so. I don't even think it's going to happen. But if it does, even if, or no matter if. So you could say, no matter if we live in a small house, we will be happy, or something like that. Yeah, that's a different meaning though. It doesn't have the same meaning as 태도. So no, these are not exchangeable. They don't have the same meaning. In case you were curious. Now this again would be an advanced question because I don't think beginners would have this question yet. They haven't probably learned both forms. But if you're kind of feeling like, oh wait, this feels the same as this form, it's different, very different. Okay. That was our lesson for today. Again, quick announcements. We have some announcements before we go though. As usual, you can get the worksheet and outline for today's live stream on my Patreon page. Even the $1 donation tier gets access to all of my live streams since the very beginning of September 2018, I think. Also, check out the Discord channel. My official Discord channel there's a link in the description of this video where you can chat with other language learners. You can practice Korean. You can get help with your sentences. Also, if you are a member of this channel, so if you click the join button below this video, you get access to watch the abridged version of today's live stream tonight. So about 4 hours from now, you can check on my channel. You'll be able to watch the full abridged version. It'll be like 10 minutes or so of today's live stream that you're watching right now. I'm going to edit it right after I finish this live stream, and members can watch that early, 3 days before everyone else. Also, I said this at the very beginning, but I'll say it again. Let's say it this way. Vote. I will not tell you who to vote for, but please vote. If you message me on Discord and say that you voted, so let me know, tell me you voted. Don't tell me who you voted for, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to ask. Just tell me that you voted and you can give me a sentence you have. This could be a sentence you've made or a sentence you're wondering about, and I will help to correct it for you. I normally don't do this on Discord because it takes a lot of time. I sometimes will randomly do it here and there, but if you just send me a message or you can even just ping me in the channel and I will help to correct your sentence. All you have to do is just tell me you voted, and this offer goes from today until the end of Tuesday. So thank you for watching, everyone. Oh, Cheryl, that rounds me up to, yeah, awesome. Cheryl, thank you. Gotta do 9 dabs. 1, 2, 3, getting tired. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I almost did. Oh. Thank you, everyone. Again, thank you to today's supporters. Cameron, our producer for today. Yuki, Chicos, Saint Miguel, Alex Full Metal, Carrie, Grandpa Mikey, and Cheryl. And I can take questions for the next 20 minutes. So if you guys have any questions about Korean, feel free to ask. It can be related to not a U.S. American. Yeah, if you're not in the U.S., that doesn't apply to you. This is just a special thing for people who are in the U.S. Again, vote however you want, but more votes is always a good thing. All right, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask those. And thank you all for coming to the lesson today. Now it's a Q&A session, so you can feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Unfortunately, I did not die live on today's stream. That would have been very worrisome. Okay. Can Nundedo? No. Tony, I have a separate live stream about that. Please watch that. Tony has 3 uses. 3 separate uses for it, and none of them match with this. Grammatically, you can switch any form with any form, but it's not going to make sense. So if you're just wondering about conjugation, no, even conjugation, it doesn't match. It would still be a different conjugation too. So no, in no way can it be replaced with Tony. Is there a way to say to express? Yes. 표현. 표현 means an expression. And then 표현하다 means to express. So you can say 슬픔, sadness. 슬픔을 표현하다, to express sadness. If you want to say it like that. He expressed sadness, something, whatever, like that. Or he had a sad, actually that wouldn't be a sad expression. An expression on your face is not 표현. 표현 is a spoken expression or a written expression. If you're wondering how to say an expression on someone's face, that is 표정. 표정 is a facial expression. So he had a bad expression. He had a bad look on his face. That sort of meaning. 표정을, and then that one's different. 짓다. To make an expression. To have an expression. To express. As in on your face. That's different. 표현하다 is to express something. To express something with your words is 표현하다. So he expressed sadness would be this one. If you say he had a sad expression, that's this one. See what else we got. Mike with extra E. Mikey. Now you ruined the fun. Now I can't say Mike anymore. Like, hey, Mikey, he likes it. I get it. Okay. I'm very glad you did not die on today's live stream. You're too young to die. Stay healthy. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad. I don't want to die on a live stream either. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see. I've got a question. Oh, Foss. Celine, someone was asking about the tool compared to today's form. Yeah, I'd answer that there's no relation to it, except that just means even. Is it okay even if I do this? Even if you do that, it doesn't matter. Or even if you do that, it's okay. It doesn't have any sort of contrast. To is just the particle even attached onto a verb. So even this verb, and that's it. Doesn't have any other meaning besides that. FOS asked, do you think you can learn Korean to advanced level by self-study? I am very confident when I say this. It would be impossible. I'm very confident about that. And by self-study, I don't mean as in without a teacher, because of course, tons of people do it without a teacher. If you're talking about self-study, like sitting at home with grammar books and practicing Korean with people on the internet, no, it's not going to happen. If you're talking about self-study as in studying by yourself and having lots of Korean friends and practicing Korean in person a lot and lots of immersion to Korean, so like lots of Korean shows and stuff, yes, that's possible. But that's kind of different when people think about self-study. They usually think about like, I'm by myself. I'm doing it all alone in my house. Like I'm never leaving my house. That's not going to be possible to get that good. But if you're going out, like you then go to live in Korea or you have lots of Korean friends and you're studying really hard on your own, then yes, that kind of self-study, as in just without a teacher, self-study is definitely possible. Happens all the time. Okay. Let's see. Isn't 묻다 a better verb for spilled? No. 흘리다 would be what you want for spill. For as in like this sort of spilled, like splashed on it. Literally made it flow onto. 묻다 could be, you could be like 묻히다 or like stained, but that's not spilled. That would be different. 노래를 하기 슬픈 표현. Not sure what you're trying to say there. Sorry for screaming at you in Macedonian. I don't know what, I think I missed something. Could you explain the difference between 만약에, 면, and 해봤자 and 태도? I actually did a lesson about the, let me see when I'm putting it up. I did a lesson about the 봤자 form. I don't know when it gets uploaded. Let me check. The state of 20, 가다, 봤자. Maybe it's already up. Yeah. Learn Korean episode 113 already covers the 봤자 form. 봤자 is no matter if you do something. And I talk about that in the lesson, how it works. So no, it's not the same as this form at all. That would be like no matter, even if you try to study, you're going to fail. That sort of meaning. It's not even though you studied, even though I studied hard, I failed. It's not that. It's even if you study hard, you're going to fail. That sort of meaning. So something's hopeless. It's a different usage for the 봤자 form. As for 만약에 is just emphasis on any sort of if sentence. So it's the same thing as not using it. 만약에. 만약에 is like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that's the feeling it adds, but it doesn't have any grammar usage other than that. 만약에 can just be stuck onto any form that has an if meaning in it. My first time of donating to any stream ever. I'm glad it was on. Yeah, thanks. You got up to two donations. You finally hit a full dollar. You got that. You got the whole dab completed. You got both parts. Let's see what other questions we have. Oh, Scott B. Hey, Scott. Thank you. Let's do 2 dabs for that, and I got an answer for you. Yeah. So 대 is a softly contrast compared with 지만, as we said. So 지만 would be like, well, it's good, but that sort of feeling. Where if you say the 대 form, it's like, well, it's good, but you know, this. So it doesn't have to be such a harsh contrast. Like you can say, it's good, but it's a little expensive. If you said 지만, it's like, it's good, but it's expensive. Then you're kind of showing like, I'm really dissatisfied with it. There's a strong contrast. Whereas if you just use the 대, it's just like, yeah, it's good, but you know, keep in mind, also it's a little bit expensive. So it doesn't even have a but meaning. Sometimes it can also have an and meaning because of that. So yes, you're correct with that. 근데 and 그런데 are actually not, they're no different. I think I need a new black marker for after this lesson. I think I'll throw this one away. Okay. 그런데 equals 근데. 근데 is a shortened version of 그런데. So that's the answer to your question. If that's what you're asking, if there's a difference between those two. 그런데 equals 근데. All they did was they removed that and they made it into 근데. It's the same thing. In fact, you'll even hear 네. You'll even hear this sometimes. Koreans will say this when speaking really quickly. 근데. Like they'll say it really quick. It's not quite 근데, but it's like they don't even say it very much. It just comes out as like 근데. There's another one you'll hear. This is just kind of related to that, but not the same meaning. Is 그러니까 becomes 그니까. Same thing. Sometimes they just won't say the 그러. It's also like therefore, so. 그러니까. Also you'll hear 그니까. 그니까. It just gets shortened. You'll hear 그니까. Also you hear just this. 그니까. Like that. So I'm just letting you know sometimes Koreans shorten those expressions so that you don't hear anything. If you ask a Korean if they say this, they'll say, no, of course we don't say this. We'll say this. 그니까. Or maybe 그니까, kind of like that. But they actually do say 그니까. 까. Like that, and they'll just start speaking. But that's what they're thinking. So sometimes these words come out of Koreans' mouths a lot shorter, but it's the same thing. 그런데 and 근데 are the same thing. If you're writing, I would say 그런데 is better. If you're speaking, use 근데. It's much more common. Okay, what other questions we got? I see 그니까 written in comments. Yeah, that's what it is. It's 그러니까, shortened. 그니까. Yeah, you can use it as like a right, as in like, therefore, that's what I'm saying. Right, that sort of thing. Like, yeah, I was telling you that. Yeah, right? That sort of meaning. Not like, oh, you're right. But like, yeah, right? I told you. 그니까, exactly what I'm saying. Because of what I'm saying. Because of that. Yeah, that sort of meaning. Let's see. Oh, my thumbnail. Thanks, Arlie. Yeah, we got to do a thumbnail. Oh, wait, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to stand here. We got some question marks. This is for our thumbnail. Let's see if I stand right here. Like that. Maybe that's good. Or like this. Okay, one of those two. You guys can join the Discord tonight and after the stream finishes, and you can vote on which thumbnail you like better. Okay, other questions? 그니까 is used to mean 그러게요. No, it's different. It's not the same as 그러게요. 그러게요 is you're agreeing with someone. They are similar meanings, though, with slightly different conjugations where they come from, though. 본대로 말하라. Tell me what you saw. Yeah. Ichi droid. The hara form is a biblical written command archaic form. It is not used. That would be like the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not, or that sort of thing, or thus tellest me. I don't know how you'd say it as a regular command. Tell me what you saw, like very direct. It's not used in spoken Korean. It would sound very harsh if you were to use it today. Hera would be the one you'd use for casual. Like, tell me what you saw. 본대로 말해라. Not 말하라. That would be like, tell meest now, what did you see? An older person could use it, but it's a less common, more archaic style of speaking for commands. If I want to say, okay, let's see. You were neglecting your duties. Oh yeah, Arlie asked the same question about 고르다 and 선택하다. I don't remember how exactly I answered it. But typically, whenever there are two words in Korean that seem to have the same meaning, but one of them comes from Sino-Korean, so one of them has a hanja with it. It came from Chinese originally, and the other one doesn't. In this case, 선택하다 would be the Sino-Korean word, and 고르다 is a pure Korean word. In those cases where there are words that have the same meaning, kind of, but one's from Sino and one's not, the using the one from Sino-Korean has more of a formal feeling to it. So versus 고르다 is like, I need to pick, I need to choose. And 선택하다 is more like, I need to select. It just has a more fancy feeling to it. But you can use either one. Just using it will have a slightly more fancy feeling. So like, I have to select the best one. 선택해야 돼요. Or I have to pick the best one. 골라야 돼요. You have to choose it, right? They're both fine though. It's just, you want that slightly fancier feeling or the less casual version. And there are a lot of cases of that. What does 점 mean? 점 means a point or a dot. This is a 점. What I just put on the board. You can't even see it. This is a 점. There, now you can see it. If you want to say $3.50, you can say 3.50, 3.50, like that. If you want to just say it as a point. So 점 is a point. Not me thinking I can learn German and Korean and German at the same time. You could learn multiple languages at the same time, but you're not going to be learning either of them as well as you would if you were learning one of them at a time. When should I use 내가? Whenever you're using casual speech or writing something, like not directed at anyone. So like a journal entry or something like that. Let's see. Hara is friend with Karashide. Hara is friend? I'm not sure what you mean. Is friend. 점이다. That's 점 plus 이다. So it is. It is a point or it is a dot, like that sort of meaning. What's the difference between 달콤하다? Oh yeah. I think you mean 달콤하다. You wrote 달콤하다 just as a typo. 달다 is something is sugary sweet. 달콤하다 is like something is pleasantly sweet. So if you have candy, which is candy? Is candy going to be like pleasantly sweet or sugary sweet? Usually you'd say sugary sweet. If you have coffee and it's sweet and you say 달다, that's your like, oh, it's like overly sweet. Like, I can taste like the sugary sweet. Like, oh, it's too sweet. 너무 달아요. It's too sweet. 달콤하다 would be like, oh, you drink some coffee or whatever, and you're like, oh, it's nice and sweet. That sort of nice and sweet is 달콤하다. There's a few words like that. 매콤하다 is spicy, like nice and spicy is 매콤하다. If you do 맵다, that's like, oh, it's spicy, like that. They have words like that for each of the, like salty is 짜다. Like you had something like, oh, 짜, it's too salty. Then there's 짭짤하다. 짭짤하다 is like nice and salty. So you're like, it's nice and salty, like that. So there's different words for each of those tastes. And in the case of sweet, it is 달다. It's like, oh, it's sweet. And then there's 달콤하다, like nice and sweet. That's the simple explanation. Yeah, as what Arlie said, with 점, you can say 가장 or 제일 중요한 점. So the most important, literally the most important point or the most important dot in that sort of sense. But yeah, aspect would be a way to translate it. Literally, it means the most important point about something. So what's the most important point? Can you not use he or she? Nope, they don't have those words that are actually used. You might see them in dictionaries or translations, but they're never actually used in speech. I shouldn't say never, because if a teacher is giving you an example sentence where they want to literally translate something, then you'll hear it in speech. Otherwise, no, they're not used. Tiffany, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for always coming. I see your name here every single time. Nice to meet you, although I can meet everyone. Any other last minute questions? We got about 3 minutes left. So if you have one more question, I can take it. Can we use 관하다? About to. I'm about to. No, that doesn't mean I'm about to. That only means something is about something. As in something is related to something. You cannot say that as I am about to. I am about to would be completely different grammar form I cover in my future tense live stream, which you can check out on my channel. 달콤, 매콤, 새콤. Yeah, those are all really good words. 새콤, 달콤. If I wanted to say out of the fact, that's not out of, I've never heard that in English before. No offense, I've never heard that in English. Out of the fact, I'm not sure what it means. 제가 이제 한국어 숙제를 해야 해요. 도와주셔서 감사합니다. 여러분 또 뵙겠습니다. Nice, Rebecca. You got to do some homework, your Korean homework. Thanks everyone for helping. See you guys again. 근데 soft like 대 or harder or 지만. 근데 is just, oh, if you're asking that, 그런데, which I said equals 근데, is just this. 그렇다 in the 대 form. It's 그렇다, to be so. It is. It just means it is with the 대 form. But it's the exact same thing as the 대 form, just with the verb 그렇다. So it's not used inside of a sentence. It is a word all by itself. It is a, what's the word? A word you can use to start a sentence. It is not used in the middle of a sentence to connect things because it's not a grammar form. It's just a word. It is, but, 그런데. It is, but is what you're literally saying. So it is the 대 form. It's not more or less. It is the 대 form. And the same thing goes for 그렇지만, 그래서, any of those 그리고, all of those 그 something with a grammar form at the end are just from that same verb. And they're only used at the beginning of a sentence. Oh yeah, and the next live stream, there will not be a live stream next Sunday. But, would you guys like to do a fan meetup online? Does that sound like something you guys would be interested in? We could possibly do a fan meetup instead of next week's live, because there is no live stream next week. There's no live lesson, I should say, next week. But if you want, we could do a live meetup. Depends how many people would be interested in that. Like on the internet is what I'm saying. Let's see. 택하다, 선정하다, 선발하다, and 고르다. Yeah, sure. There are also other meanings for that as well. And there's a lot more than that. Yeah, 선택하다, 택하다, 선정하다, 고르다, 뽑다, 선별하다, 선발하다, as you have. I think there's even a few others depending on exactly what you're trying to say. But as you add in more of those words, you really get completely different feelings for them, that they're no longer just, what's the difference between this word and this word? Well, in that point, they're completely different in how they're used. Okay, if there is, I'll announce it tomorrow, if we're going to do that. If not, we'll do it another week. But I would like to do something like that. Okay, then everyone, thank you for coming. Thank you again to everyone who supported today's stream. And if you have any questions, make sure to join the Discord, as well as remember to send me a message if you vote between today and Tuesday night. If you vote, you can send me a message with a sentence you'd like me to check, and I will check it for you. Again, I normally don't do that, but today I will do that. So actually, I might do it tonight. Not right now because I'm going to be editing, but by tonight, I'll check that. And thank you again, and I will see you. What am I saying? Thank you, everyone, for coming again. Fortunately, I did not die in the stream. And I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. see if I can go inside of this this train over here. The window's open over here. Maybe I can climb in. No, I don't think I fit. Okay, I'll try walking over here, see if anything else I can do. Back here.